Welcome if you are watching on Facebook and YouTube. Tuesday morning, focusing on the breath, and a nice way to do that is with a very relaxed 5-element qigong flow. So that's what we'll practice again today. We did this last week. Find a comfortable space, standing, where you have plenty of space around you. And just make sure you've got arm space in that direction and arm space in that direction. Taking your feet shoulder width apart. A little bit of a warm up first, get the body moving, get the spine energized. And we just start by connecting our feet to the ground, moving from our hips and our waist, being strong through the lower body. So grounded and connected through the lower body. And then light and lifted through the upper body. And if you've imagined the spine down that center from the crown of the head as an axis, and you're just rotating around that axis. So it's not forced, it's not pushed. You can really relax the shoulders, relax the upper back and between the shoulder blades. And breathing is just light, not really thinking about it, just naturally in and out through the nose. The face is relaxed as well. Relaxing the face muscles. And then bringing the hand that swings across the front into a very light fist and just tapping just underneath the collarbone. Just if you visualize where the tips of the lungs are in your rib cage. So just gently tapping. So it's good to get the blood flowing, lymphatic drainage. And here you might feel you just want to take a slightly fuller breath in and a sigh out. Let go. And perhaps again, fuller breath in. Sigh out and let go. Bringing now the hand that swings across the front, or the arm that swings across the front. Just cupping the hand, and we're just going into the shoulders there. So just on the shoulders, creating some vibration. Back down to chest, long point. And then back down to belly and back. Gradually slowing down. And when you slow it down, we slow it down into water waves. And here we just add that little bit of resistance to the arms. So it's like a very slow motion, movement, constant movement, but in slow motion. nice. And then when you're ready, just come into a standing position, just bringing your feet about shoulder, hip width. Balance for a moment. Just notice how the spine feels now. We've created some energy through the spine in that rotation. And then we'll go into flexion and extension. So taking the feet shoulder width again. Bit more bend in the knees, folding the hips back a little bit, and then doing breath in. So we're extending and expanding, and then tucking the pelvis, breath out as we're curling into a little ball. I'll show you from the side. Breath in and breath out, curling into a little ball. Watch on this breath in that you don't lean back. This quite often happens as you start to lean back here. So keep low and just extend the spine and then tuck underneath. Keeping those knees low so we're getting the movement through the pelvis. And the head on this one, when we're extending here, just keep the head facing forward so you can get that nice length through the back of the neck. So we're lengthening out the back of the neck as well. Breath in and breath out. Might get some little clicks and some little pops. And I say this every time, but it shouldn't be pushed or forced or strained or overdone. And you go at your own comfortable pace. Let the breath guide the movement. So you don't necessarily need to follow my movements. Or if you're watching on Zoom, anyone on Zoom, just let you move with your breath. When you take the next breath in, we'll just rotate to one side. Breathe into that side. And then out, back down the center. And then just go side to side. Breathe in. To the other side, out to center. And then let's do one more each side. And then one more center. Should be well expanded now and open, and then take a rest there. Again, just stand for a moment. Just notice perhaps how that feels in the shoulders, in the chest, in the rib cage. All of this is great preparation for creating space for smooth movement and space for breath. Let's go. Dog wags the tail. So shifting. Pelvis is parallel to the ground. Again, just watch that you're not doing this. This is common that we start to do this like hip dropping side to side. So just pelvis parallel to the ground. And then you can free up the spine. And you move like a wave from the lower back to the mid back, upper back, and then the head follows. But it's that movement of the lower body that's creating the wave of the upper body. Working really low from the base of the spine. Spine follows the hips. gradually slow down, slow down, slow down. And we'll do a little bit of a shake. So shaking is always a good way just to release any tightness and tension physically, and also if you're feeling a little bit stressed emotionally, and just shake how you feel, what you feel you need. So you might just want a gentle shake, or sometimes you might want a little bit more of a vigorous shake, and you might just want to keep your feet flat on the ground using the legs as pumps, or you might want to keep using the legs as pumps but then just start to tap the heels into the ground, so you get a really good vibrational sense all the way through the body if you start to tap the heels into the ground. And then you can bring the wrists into it, so give the fingers a shake, the wrists a shake, the fingers shaking, shoulders going. And we can do a few fuller breaths. Let go. And again, breath in. Let go. And one more breath in. Good. A little bit more of a shake. And then gradually slow it down, slow it down, slow it down, slow it down. And stand for a moment. Opening up the shoulders, palms facing forwards, and feeling any tingling sensations through the body. And then when we're ready, let's bring our feet together and just stand for a moment, eyes open. So we've got the energy flowing. Now let's use the energy that we've created to actually go into our 5-element flow. So we'll start off with opening the flow. So stepping out to shoulder width, balancing, and then arms floating up, and then down. And get that sense, see if you can get that sense that the movement follows the breath. So as you breathe in, that creates the movement, that initiates the movement, the body expands, and then as you breathe out, soft. And find your own comfortable pace, your own comfortable rhythm. Don't necessarily need to follow me, follow your breath. Remembering the whole body is involved in the movement as well, so notice perhaps that subtle weight shift towards the heels as the arms flow up perhaps, and then towards the ball of the foot, the balls of the foot as our arms float down. Just take one more. And then just taking a moment before we move into Buddha holds up the earth. So the metal element. Breath in. And breath out. So really focusing on bringing energy into the body. And breath is that first way of bringing energy into the body. Bringing fresh oxygen into the lungs. Going at your own pace, and then just taking a moment before we move into the fountain. So water element. Focusing on relaxation and flow, and all of the movements, all of the qigong flow movements are that effortless flow, but this one in particular is really just emphasizing the way that water flows through a structure. And breath in as we expand, and breath out as we soften. And if you keep watching from the front, but just watch me from the side, you'll see just that little bit of shift. Standing tall there, and then just the hips just gliding back a little bit more bend in the knees. Still keeping the movement effortless as possible, soft as possible. Where you can be soft in the elbows, the wrists. And strong through the lower body, strong as we stand tall through the spine. And then after your next one, taking a rest. Before we move into tree sways in the wind, the wood element. So rotating, breath in, and breath out. Breath in, breath out. That little bit of a lull at the bottom of the breath, and that space at the top of the breath. Focusing on the combination of strength and structure and flexibility and softness. So a combination of both in every movement, in everything we do, is what creates the resilience. So just as a tree is very strong and rooted, it's also flexible in the fact that it sways in the wind. And that's what makes it more resilient. That combination of strength and softness. And just perhaps one more before you finish that movement. Taking a moment before we move into cloudy hands. The fire element. Enjoyment. Keep that flowing movement so this doesn't become robotic. Make sure it flows, make sure the movement comes from the hips and the waist, and that upper body follows that lower body movement. Standing tall and open. Just breathing easy, so just breathing effortlessly in and out through the nose, lightly, softly. And that face relaxed, that inner smile is a nice little focus. And then just finishing when you're ready. Taking a moment now. Final element of pebble in the pond and the earth element. Centering, grounding. Breathing out. And then breathing in, back into the center. And then just bringing the hands over the lower